Good morning, boys and girls. How are you today? Last week we spoke about mothers, and I'm hoping that you did something extra special for your mom last week. Well, today, Granny's gonna be with us and she's going to talk to us about power, God's power, and how we can access that power. But before we do that, let's jump right into some praise and worship.
Jesus is the one who lights our way. He gives us hope for each new day. When the world feels dark and lonely, His love illuminates. He's the one I trust and I will follow Him. He is the light that breaks through the darkness. Follow His lead and light it up. Jesus will guide us through every dark time. Follow His lead and light up the world. Jesus is the one who lights our way. He gives us hope for each new day. When the world feels dark and lonely, His love illuminates. He's the one I trust and I will follow Him. breaks through the darkness. Follow his lead and light it up, light it up. Jesus will guide us through every dark time. Follow his lead and light it up, light up the world. Light up the world. Light up the I know he rescued my soul. His blood has covered my sin. I believe. I believe. My shame is taken away. My pain is healed in his name. I believe. Work it out. I believe. I'll raise a banner, 'cause my Lord has conquered the grave. My Redeemer lives. My Redeemer lives. My Redeemer lives. My Redeemer lives. I know he rescued my soul. His blood has covered my sin. I believe. I believe. I believe. I'll raise a banner. I'll raise a banner, 'cause my Lord has conquered the grave. My Redeemer lives. 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 You lift my burden. I'll rise with you. I'm dancing on this mountaintop to see your kingdom come. My Redeemer lives. 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 My
Well, hi, children. How is y'all today? That's good. If you could see today, Granny's standing up today. All this lockdown stuff and sitting on my bum all day, every day, Granny can't take that, so Granny's standing up today. Well, today, kids, I'm going to talk to you about some power. Now, when I was growing up, I used to love to watch this cartoon called He-Man. And in the cartoon, He-Man was just an ordinary boy, you know. But child, when he took out his sword and he said some words, man, he transformed himself into one. Oh, he was such a handsome a hunk of a boy. Well, anyway, let me get back to what I was talking about. I was talking about power. Yeah, and today I'm reminded about He-Man because guess what? God has power. And God can take an ordinary person like you and me, kiddies, and he can make us extraordinary. Now, the power of God, that's some serious power. The power has been around so long. The power of God has been around from the creation. If we read and we check out the book of Genesis, kiddies, we see that the power was there. God spoke things and it came into existence. That's the power of God, kids. You see the sun, you see the sky, you see the earth. God spoke those things into existence, He said, get it done, and it was done. God got some power. Now, if we go through the Bible, we'll see some very ordinary people got power. Let's look at David. Little David, he was a little one just like you guys. He was a little shepherd. And he went down when his brothers and the Israelites was fighting them old, mean old, what they call them, Philistines, one of them, Philistines, yeah. And he went down there, and that old mean, nasty Goliath was taunting them poor Israelites, and they were scared. And David was like, what kind of foolishness is this? And so he went and he said, what's going on? Why are you messing with my God? And that mean old uncircumcised old son of a, anyway, children, you know what I mean. That Goliath, he was nasty. And he said, David, you're just a boy. But let me tell you something. All David had was a slingshot and some little rocks that he got from the river. But guess what? They were ordinary stuff. But the power of God came down on those ordinary things and made them extraordinary. He sang and he did like this, and whoosh, right through Goliath, right through his head, right there. Don't play with God. God don't mess around. And if we're going to go further down the street, let's look at Daniel. Daniel was an ordinary boy, just praying to God 3 times a day. And they threw him in that lion's den. It had to be the power of God that closed those mouths. Because guess what? He had nowhere to go. Where could it go? So it had to be God's power that came down and closed those lions' mouths. And what happened? He sat down and he hugged up and he used those lions as pillows while he slept last night. And then Shadrach, Meshach, and what they call him, the big billy goat. There they go. You know what I mean, kiddies. They threw them in the fiery furnace. Now, we say it's hot during the summertime here, but you can imagine the fiery furnace. How hot that was. And guess what? They threw 3 of them in. And when they looked, they saw 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You know who that 4th person was? That was God. And guess what? The power of God came upon those 3 boys. And when they stepped out of that furnace, nothing happened to them. They didn't even come out smelling like smoke. I believe they came out even looking better than they went in, because guess what? Heat is purify things, Yeah. So the Bible shows us that God can take ordinary people and make them extraordinary. So kiddies, I don't want you to go and listen to people talking about, oh, you're too small, you're too young. No, God can use you. Look at the people in the New Testament, Paul and Silas. They was inside jail. The bad Roman soldiers standing out front. And guess what? They started to pray to God. And the power of God came upon them. And poof, the door opened. And they walked right out of that jail cell. The power of God is something else, And I'm reminded too, look at Jesus. The power of God was on him every day. Oh, bless the Lord. And what did he do? He fed them out of what? Some bread and some fishy?
Fit a whole 5,000 of them. And then he raised Lazarus from the dead. He healed the sick, made the blind see again. He had some power in him, and that's the power of God. But you know what was more awesome with Jesus? The devil thought he had him. He thought he had him and he crucified him. But listen here to me, the power of God is so awesome. And this is just my opinion. This is just Granny's opinion. Please, it's not in the Bible, but this is just my opinion. When you see he died, I believe those demons and they were having a good time down there. But when they saw him come walking through down there, he had the power of God with him. And this is just my belief. I believe he ran up to Satan and he did this. Pew, 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 pew. Give him a couple of them uppercuts and he grabbed them keys and said, give me these things, boy. That's my opinion. That's just my opinion. And he grabbed the key, conquered death, hell, and the grave, and then he rose up on the third day. And guess what, kids? That's the power of God. The Holy Spirit, the power of God. And you see what I'm trying to tell you today, kids, is God gave you the same power. You got the same power. Because when Jesus rose, he gave us back power and authority. He made us right. He gave us back what we were originally planned to do. This earth is ours. We got the power. You're an ordinary child, but you got the power inside of you. Don't let nobody tell you you're too small. You don't know what you're talking about. You're too young. God can use you. You know how small a mustard seed is? And he said faith like a mustard seed can move a whole mountain. Can you imagine you moving a mountain? Well, child, I'm telling you. So when you go to school, the power of God is inside of you. Speak to your friends. When you go home, the power of God is inside of you. Speak to your mommy and your pappy and tell them about God. You can do things for God. You have access to the power. Now, let me tell you something, kiddies. I'm going to leave you with this, okay? This is what I want you to say. I am a child of God. And fabulous secrets was revealed to me the day I accepted Jesus Christ into my heart and meditated on the Word, and with the Holy Spirit, I have the power.
Wow, Granny surely is animated. Well, she surely did tell us about power and how we can get it. And don't forget, boys and girls, you have the power.